My name's Rich Awn, and I'm the janitor slash CEO of Magick City.
Okay. So tell us about Magick City and how it started and how you came to acquire this building.
So the way that Magick City came to be was that mainly I was like brewing kombucha as a hobby, working in real estate, working in production, working in all kinds of stuff. And my college roommate and close friend Jeremy Willis, who now lives next door to here, identified this space that we're at right now, which is a 1,000 square foot, single story garage at the northernmost outer planetary limits of Greenpoint. And the idea was that, you know, when Jeremy found this place, he was like, this is probably good for your kombucha operation. And so I checked it out, and it was perfect. I mean, it was just a raw space, and before it was another food business. They packed spices, and they left the biggest, most titanic mess you can imagine. I mean, we had to like scrape cardamom and allspice and turmeric and like stuff that was just in the rafters. You can't believe what a hellacious mess it was. So we grabbed a couple guys from across the street who were sandblasting the outside of the building. The landlord threw them a couple bucks, and they power blasted the inside of the space.
Oh.
So took off one layer, and then I went around with like a toothbrush and a diaper and cleaned the rest of it. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting in here one night, and there's a terrible rainstorm, and the roof starts leaking. And I'm like, this is already, I'm like 3 months into the lease. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, you know, I had no customers for my kombucha. I had a couple people who wanted to share the kitchen with me, because I kind of put that out there, that's my intention. And so we ended up having to put a new roof on the space, and that then revealed a layer of just pulverized tar. Like there was literally tar dust in between a layer of like silver roof and then the rafters. So they ripped all that up, and in the process it came raining down all over the space 100%. After we had like installed a bunch of the equipment, whitewashed the space, and it was an incredible mess. So then we did another power wash and another power clean. I mean, look, we've cleaned the space 1,000 times. And cleaning is just so important. I mean, like, for what we're doing. It sounds so boring, but that's why I'm the janitor and the CEO.
That explains it.
I could probably fall back and be a professional statement.
Yeah. At least the rain got rid of the rest of the cardamom, though.
Yeah, it did. It did. But I mean, this place has just gone through so much craziness. Like, we used to have a big red carpet in there. There used to not be a bunch of these walls that are dividing up the space. It was all just theater curtains and carpet and vibe.
So how did you decide to make it into this combination of a commercial kitchen and party space and coffee shop and bar and street gym?
Yeah, well, I never thought of that. I would do that. I actually thought it would just be a kitchen space, and then it occurred to me after we built the kitchen, oh, I have all this extra space. What are we gonna do with it? Fill it with boxes? Boring, you know? Like, we have this beautiful, like, ground level thing here, and like a really kind of, at the time, what was an up and coming neighborhood. You know, Greenpoint, I guess, has always been kind of a dozy den, because of the lack of public transportation, but then they added a bus line, and then, you know, now everybody can get a car by texting the place, you know, and so it's not such an exotic outer borough destination anymore. And now we have like skyscrapers coming up around our ears. So Greenpoint has arrived. Yeah.
So how many food entrepreneurs share the space with you?
Well, at first we had just two. We had my buddy Phil Kraus, who runs Cup and Compass, which is a beverage brand. They do lemonade concentrate for the restaurant industry, but he also facilitates, you know, beverages for big companies and stuff like that. And he's a great young guy, great friend. But I'd known all these people, and also then Rebecca Dangrove from Brula Bars, who is a food scientist, and they recently sold their company to another huge company. And she continued to work here up until really recently, and she would do formulation and chemical testing and recipe testing just all year out of our shared kitchen, in addition to doing stuff for her popsicle brand for all those years. So I had a couple like anchor tenants at the beginning, and then word started spreading through some of the markets, hey, that kombucha guy has a shared kitchen now. And they're like, oh, really? Which one? The one in Long Island City? Because there's another kombucha guy also with a shared kitchen. So there was like a little bit of confusion as to like what the heck was going on. But eventually people routed it back to me, and now we have 13 businesses or something like that, like fluctuating in and out. And people coming in all the time.
Are any of them partners with you, or it's solely your place?
It's I'm strictly the janitor and CEO.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no other principal or partners or members in the sense that on the corporate side, but people become kitchen members, monthly members. It's all month to month.
Okay. So it's 13
contract.
at the moment?
It's 13 like coming and going, but it's probably like 7 like who are like consistently here. Some people kind of float in and out. There's CSAs and farms that are that need a space to produce that's in New York State and that's certified. And, a place like this becomes really valuable for very specific things. It's like I'm the middleman and I'm the supplier. So it works on many levels.
So are you seeking new members?
We are out there as much as we can. I don't like people come and go. Seasons are affect what businesses come and go.
So heading into the holidays it gets busier, or that's not really one of your seasons?
People who want to just it's also like growing seasons. So like if you have a hot sauce, there's like a pepper harvest, and you want to process them all during that like 1 month. So that's one factor is nature, and nature's other thing is that she makes seasons. So summer and like outdoor markets and things like that are mostly summertime things, and then in the winter, that's kind of when I can be in here really focusing on my own product. It's very chill in here, very cold, but I don't mind. It's great winter weather.
Now, what kind of facilities and capabilities do you have for anyone who's looking for a space in the area?
Sure. So the Magick City provides a wide variety of options for not just kitchen people, but for event producers, artists, filmmakers. I think in a nutshell, what we provide is a space for you to come in to develop and realize your own invention. That's kind of like my thing. And it's not so much, I have a lot of people coming in like, hey, I'm looking for a job, you got anything going on over here? And it's like, it's not really the kind of place you come in and get a job. It's like kind of a place you come in and you like give yourself a job. Yeah, it's just like the shell for that. So right here we're sitting in our cafe, which is like a sidewalk cafe, sitting on a vintage stationary bike, which I'm just weirdly obsessed with collecting. They satisfied our outdoor seating, and you can get some exercise. Maybe we'll set them up to power the cafe. That's one thing. But people walk up,
I should tilt
they
down and
skate
just
up.
show the bikes.
Yeah. People walk up, they skate up, they bike up, they get a kombucha, they get a cappuccino. They will soon, they'll soon be able to get fresh baked goods and anything else that we make out of the kitchen. So point of sale was...
You will sell, this will become a retail space to the street eventually?
Adding the point of sale was an important thing for me from the beginning as like one of our verticals, right? How we actually make money here out of what we do. And that's because that's selling what we make. And also giving people to test market stuff and do flavors and exclusive flavors. And so that's the concept there. We're still like kind of snagged by the Department of Health for a plumbing issue, which is ironic because we don't have any water waste. All of our water waste goes into a tank, which gets pumped through a drip irrigation system up into an indoor garden, which is a next element of our space. We have like indoor growing capabilities.
Really?
And then stacked after that is our event space. And the event space is kind of just like a catch-all for a room that has a really fancy sound system, a digital projector, 10-foot projector screen, and a wood floor, which we reclaimed from the Roseland, which is a legendary concert hall that was demolished in 2015. And the guy who threw the last party there had a basic knowledge of contracting, brought in a couple circle saws, and
So that's Roseland Ballroom. The floor is now here in Brooklyn.
Roseland Ballroom is now here, which is kind of an homage to another place that I really liked downtown, or rather the meatpacking, I guess, called Passerby, which had Studio 54's floor, the like glowing floor, in a tiny little bar. But it, like just that piece of like
Just history.
was in there. It brought all these amazing DJs to come in, and you would hear the greatest music in there, and like you just have like the most wild night. And I never forgot that. So that was something that I wanted to do, was to bring a piece of disappearing New York and have it reappear. Hence Magick City.
So that's where the name came from?
Well, the name came from my friend Jake, who was sending me music one day and sent me a copy of Sun Ra's The Magick City, which is this really out there experimental jazz record, free jazz record. And then we were just in the stage of trying to figure out what to call the place. And I was like, yeah, let's call it Magick City. And originally it was spelled Magick City with a C, just a normal magic, like illusionism. And I think in our texts we sort of added the K because we are kind of like, curious about the occult and the sort of ceremonial rite of magic, which is where that K comes from. It's kind of like an old English way of spelling it. And so that's how we ended up doing it. Also, there's a strip club in Atlanta called Magick City. Miami's called Magick City.
With the C at the end?
With the C. So we needed to like differentiate ourselves somehow from that. And it was a little confusing at first. People didn't know quite how to spell it.
And you have no sign on your building outside.
We don't have any sign. We keep it low key. We have our door, which is like kind of our DIY door, with postings for all the upcoming events. And that's pretty much our only signage. When that's closed, you would have no idea what's going on here. And I think that's kind of like part of what we like about the space. You discover it. It's one of those places that you come to when you're on vacation or something, and we're just on the same street as a hotel, so all the nations in the world walk by here, and they are all very pleased by this weird thing.
So what kind of events do you have here, and do you cater to the international crowd in the neighborhood, or you just do your own thing and some of them just jump in?
So the events we do here, our arts program is like a self-organizing thing. We don't have like a centralized event production arm or anything. We basically just spark it from one event to the next. Somebody will come to an event that we have and they'll say, can I book a show here? And you better believe I'll say yes. We have like a booking structure. We're a private venue, we're not a bar, so we don't book out. We don't pay artists necessarily outright to come and perform here, but what we do is we offer them the door, we offer them pre-sale, and then we'll just do our little elixir bar, which is kind of a front-end loaded non-alcoholic kombucha bar.
So there's no alcohol. You'll do kombucha is the drink of it.
We'll do alcohol only because like we have to, and it's like it's annoying to have to sell alcohol and serve beer, but yeah, you can get a beer here, but it's not really like our thing. And it's confusing also to some promoters who are like, oh, this is not the structure that I'm used to. I'm not used to paying a room fee and everything, but we're not used to generating alcohol revenue. You have to generate more alcohol revenue.
How do you charge then if someone just says, I want to use the space for the night?
So it's $8.50 Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday it's $12.50 plus $300 security deposit, and it's pretty competitive.
And that's they can do whatever they want then in that time. You don't
no
split
hourly
any door,
limit.
you don't do anything.
No, they can keep the door, they keep the pre-sale. Yeah, we're covered if that room key gets covered.
Right, okay.
But like, yeah, dinner parties, readings, screenings, magazine launches, sound baths, guided meditations, film screenings, film festivals, holographic, demonstrations,
Really holographic?
flavor raves, really elaborate dinner parties, and then combinations of all those. So we did like film screening plus a dinner party, or like, film screening and brunch, yoga and brunch.
How much seating do you have in there?
We can seat 40 people for a sit-down meal. We can lay 10 people down. So we've done these meditations and these sound baths and these like sleep parties where you like sleep over, and we have like a 9-hour program of like
Really?
ambient music mostly. So.
And then how much, if you have capacity for just rows of seats to just watch
And
a
then we
movie?
can seat 50 people in our vintage oak folding chairs by Kraus Farm. Nice fellow around here providing really fancy chairs. And we can have about 90 people standing. So the last element to Magick City is its kitchen, and I think that's the nucleus of everything that goes on here. And it's a shared kitchen. It gets used during events that involve food, and then it gets used as like a second environment for parties. So we'll push all the equipment into the corners. We kind of do a little fancy Tetris thing, and we create another kind of hangout in the kitchen where we take seats and benches. We set up a bar back there, and it's just like another hangout where the music isn't quite so loud. You can kind of chill and get a refreshment.
So
Yeah.
if someone wants to either rent your space or work with you, how should they reach you?
info@magic.city, magick.city. We're a .city domain, not a .com. And the Facebook.com/Magick City, Instagram @Magick City, all spelled the same way, MAGICKCITY. And that'll get you to me. But you can also, just as a normal person, be a member for $15 a month. You get into all of our events for free. You'll get a membership mug, which is good for free coffee and kombucha when our cafe is finally up and running. And we'll really be pushing our membership thing once the cafe is open, because I think that's a good enough reason to be a member, other than, there are some events that's like $75 a head. You're a member, you're in for free, plus a guest. So can't beat it. Even if you go to one thing in 3 months, you've already beaten the door. And these things can get really busy and crowded. We just had one of the top 100 DJs here last weekend. We have, really cool, interesting listening events, classic album Sundays, something that we do here. So, yeah, if you're interested, hit me up.